All right, have and have not fans. Hope everyone's doing well. This will be the review for the penultimate episode, Father's Day. A very misleading title because this episode had nothing to do with fathers, unless you account the story for Alyssa's father. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, let's just get into this one. You know the drill, guys. Go ahead and thumbs up the video. Let's try to get to 100 likes on this one. Go ahead and hit subscribe so we can hit 150,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Hit the bell icon and select all. That way you keep yourself notified whenever I post new content or go live on the channel. And finally, follow me on my social media platforms. Links are in the description below. If you tuned into my live stream last night, I wasn't a big fan of the episode. Now, let me say this. This was one of the better episodes of season 7, but it still wasn't great. I feel lukewarm to it, kind of like I did last week. You know, where last week was watchable, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but this was episode 3, if you will, 3 episodes in a row without Candace. According to the trailer, she will be in next week's, but then again, these trailers have been misleading, so Candace might not be in the episode. No, she'll be there. It's the finale. Yes, I'm well aware that this is reshoot territory, so theoretically, these episode titles aren't necessarily misleading because it was originally Father's Day, and what was supposed to air wasn't what we got, so the episode that we saw really wasn't father. I'm confusing myself. Look, I know what I'm trying to say and it doesn't make sense. So I know during the actual live stream I said that, man, this episode was gonna be like a 7.5. Let me go through the episode and then maybe, you know, I will change my mind. This episode, my God. Okay, so this episode was definitely a Veronica, Justin, and Colby focused episode more than anything else. You know, David was in there for a little bit, but yeah, let's just go with it. And guys, let me say this. Whenever I mention things like this isn't to attack the cast members or anything, but I've noticed this ever since this character was introduced. But the actor portraying Samuel, I'm not really buying the performance, you know, like again, no shade to the acting or the actor, but I don't think he has the strongest delivery of his dialogue, if you will. I mean, I feel like he was just added to the show to be like the eye candy or whatever. And for that purpose, obviously, he's fulfilling the role, given how, you know, female fans are responding to him. And basically, you know, Veronica's, you know, losing it over him. And hell, to be honest, I felt like she was getting a little soggy in the kitchen when they were standing together. I don't know. But yeah, so the episode starts off with Veronica getting her gun and Jeffrey's trying to get these guys out of there. Trevor and Terry like, she getting the gun? Let's get the hell out of here. Well, no, yeah, Trevor and Terry, yeah, they get out of the pool. Colby's just staying in there. Everybody's yelling for his dumb ass to get out of the pool, but it's like, man, she ain't gonna do nothing. Come on, Cletus. Come on. So the two, Trevor and Terry run, and then Jeffrey tries to run, but then he screams, let's get out of here. And then Veronica's like, boy, if you don't stay your ass there, this is your idea. So then after that, well, actually, I'm sorry, I skipped a part. Samuel is trying to prevent Veronica from going out there. He's like, wait, so you don't know those guys? Again, I don't really buy his dialogue or delivery or the acting. Okay, yes, I said I don't buy the acting. I'm sorry. But Samuel says that, you know, give me like 3 minutes. Let me talk to him. It's like, oh, so you swing that way? No, let me reassure you, I do not. But I don't want to talk to the police. And if Veronica's okay, so to me, that one line of dialogue about Samuel not wanting to talk to the police apparently was the thing that got Veronica suspicious enough to make a phone call later in the episode to look into Samuel and Laura Wilson, because apparently she feels that they're not up to any good because of Samuel stating that he didn't want to talk to the police. Well, given that she was an attorney, I guess it makes sense, but I feel like it's flimsy, but whatever. So in any case, Veronica is like, nope, so shoves him out of the way and goes to the pool. Ladies and gentlemen, the episode had not been on for more than 2 minutes and we had a 10-minute commercial break. Yes, I counted. It was like 8:02, and I'm like, wait, we're going to commercial already? It's not uncommon. I should be used to it, but think about it this way. If you subtract the recap time, the recap of last week's episode and the theme music, the episode itself was not even on the air for 2 minutes before we went to commercial break. So Veronica goes off and she goes on a homophobic rant about, tell it to get out of my pool. And then, Colby claps back. And then I ain't gonna lie, Veronica fired that gun off quicker than I thought. Like I was like, oh damn. I was like, damn, this is getting real. So I think after a couple of shots, like she wasn't aiming at. Basically, I feel like Veronica did to Colby what Wyatt allegedly did at Catherine, where he shot at Catherine but didn't shoot her directly. Basically, shot in her general direction. So Colby gets out of the pool while Samuel holds him back, and then they get the hell out of there. So after that, Veronica's like, I don't want a man to overpower me. Why did you do that? It's like, damn, you would have made me clean that up. Again, stiff acting. Then they start making out because apparently that was hot. It would have been a lot hotter if she had the gun on the table before they started making out, but that's just me. I mean, but then again, let me move on forward, say something I don't mean. So David gets home and Alyssa's there again and apparently wants to talk to him inside of the house alone. She wanted to take a different approach from Erica to be straightforward. I like the nod to continuity where she mentioned slashing the tires because remember, you could argue that I feel like Alyssa, well, no, I don't think Erica would have been as straightforward as Alyssa. Alyssa definitely wanted to take a different approach. If you remember, Candace was the one coaching Erica on every move she made with David. So that really wasn't Erica. That was Candace. So, yeah, we get an interesting backstory of, oh, you really don't remember me, huh? You saw me when I was 9 in court. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, Alyssa, I feel like that's a very good reason for David not to remember you. I mean, when you explain the story, it makes sense why David would remember that. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, unless it's like a family member, I don't think it's a good idea for like a grown man to remember a child. But whatever. So turns out while he was on the bench, a great nod to continuity again, because some people forget that Jim and David used to be judges. I mean, technically they still are. They just retired from the bench in order to run for the governor's mansion. And we saw what happened with that. So long story short, Alyssa and her sister were children because their dad killed their mother and was molesting them. And the father was put away for life. And from that, her and her sister went down a spiral because they had crappy foster parents or crappy foster homes. Her sister eventually died of an overdose. And she even has the paperwork like, hey, I'm clean. I don't have any diseases. You can have my body. I just want security and someone to take care of me. I mean, this is the thing. And you all know I love me some Crystal Lee Naomi. So this is no shade towards her, but the character of Alyssa. I think my biggest issue with the haves and the have-nots now is obviously it's padding. Obviously it's fluff. Obviously it's filler to get from point A to point B. What I hate is the obvious rinse and repeat of the same storylines. It's like, hey, here's Alyssa. She's going to do to David what Erica did. But the thing is, she's not going to scam him. She's going to be straight up and, straightforward with him. Do we really need to see this again? Like, she ends up going down on David. And that makes no sense in the context of David's actions throughout the remainder of the episode. And then in the preview for next week. Because in the preview, those two are in bed together. And I'm like, that would make more sense if, let's say, the David and Alyssa scene happened after David went to the hospital to see Jim. Happened after David went to the police station to talk with Cameron Davis. So I feel like there was a mix-up in the scenes in terms of the editing, but that's just me. So then we go over to Al and Hannah, still going over the different terminology. And Hannah once again shows her diligence and integrity. She feels a lot of pressure to honor Catherine's legacy because this is the money that's been passed down and all this and that. And she needs to learn all there is to know. And Al makes a good point. Like, you're being too hard on yourself. There's no way you can learn this all in a few hours unless you're Tony Stark. It's like, so when did you become an expert in radioactive physicist last night. Look, I know I probably pronounced that line wrong, but I haven't watched the original Avengers movie in a while. But in any case, he basically admires her, pretty much pulling a David, I admire you. And then from there, flirts with her. It's like, you have beautiful eyes. And I was actually laughing out loud because if you go back and rewatch that scene, as soon as Al compliments Hannah's eyes, her eyes almost popped out of her head because they're looking everywhere except at Al, because it's like, well, okay, this is awkward. Now back to work. And I just love it because Al jokes it off, because it was honestly a funny scene. But this was one of the better scenes of the episode. I will admit that. But like I said in my episode trailer, my trailer breakdown for next week, I'm scratching my head a bit at the continuity, because a couple episodes ago when Hannah called Al said, oh, I have a lunch break soon. I'll come over then. So now it's the middle of the night. My guess is that Al just made a call back to the office saying, hey, I'm working with another client. I'm working on another case. Clear my schedule for the rest of the day. I'm guessing that's what happened. And not to mention, Hannah's supposed to be meeting with Don and John tonight. So, I mean, what time are they supposed to meet? What time is it now? I feel like it's pretty late at night. But again, I mean, unless it's during daylight savings time and it's getting dark early, I don't know, but whatever. So after that, we're going back to Madison's place. Tanner and Terry tell off Colby's crazy ass, and they end up leaving because they didn't sign up for this. And then Colby, is like, I was thinking like, Jeffrey, was he right? Like, is Colby on something aside from a few drinks? But it's like, no, see, the pool represents the world, and being naked is a vulnerability, and she shot at me, but she didn't shoot me. And I'm like, what? So then Madison gets home from work, and Colby gets a phone call, steps into another room. Apparently he works for about $2.50 an hour or half hour. And long story short, he's like an escort. And I called it. If you follow me on Twitter, because I was tweeting last night, I'm like, I bet it's Justin on the other end of that phone. So Jeffrey is giving a breakdown of what happened at Veronica's house. And now Jeffrey's starting to give Madison attitude because apparently he told Colby everything about him. Now that I will admit, yeah, I will be a little upset at that. But Jeffrey, you don't have anybody to blame but yourself. Nobody forced you. Nobody made you give Colby and the guys your mother's address. So I don't know what you have an attitude about. Like, you're the punk who let it happen. Like, again, peer pressure sucks, but at the end of the day, you're the one that went over there. Like, I would be mad too if they would keep throwing it. Well, it was your idea. And he keeps saying, I was drunk. And guess what? We did not go over to my mother's house. So drop it, leave it alone, and let's move forward. So I just hate what they're doing. Look, Gavin is a great dude. I've seen him do a couple live streams on Instagram. And again, like I said, no shade towards the actor. He seems like a very great guy. But Jeffrey as a character, I despise what Tyler's doing with the character. Then we get Marco, who comes over to Veronica's house. People are telling me that he's not a new character, that he appeared in season 3, I believe, as like Catherine's fitness trainer. I do remember that one episode where she had a workout instructor, and then she was telling Hannah that, I'm just trying to get my life back on track, get back in shape, if you will, because this was at a time where I believe Catherine was trying to move forward from the Amanda murder. So basically trying to get her life back on track. I got to go back and see if I can find that episode. I'm not saying people are wrong, but I honestly do not remember this guy. But apparently Marco is like, what? Ex-military, was a gigolo for Catherine, a mercenary, which he denies all of that. But apparently Veronica breaks it down. Look, honey, I know exactly who you are. I know exactly what you do. But whatever deal you have with Catherine Cryer, it's done. She's in jail for a long time. So I'm going to give you about $5,000 to start, because apparently her husband, Jim Cryer, has somebody hunting me, a keel, a foreigner. Basically, I need somebody, a foreigner, to... Wait, did she say foreigner? I forgot what she said, honestly. But in any case, I need you to trail him. Now, remember, Akil, the guy who's also working with Oliver, the drug runner, he's the guy that Jim hired to trail Veronica. So apparently Veronica's having Marco trail Akil. He's like, 15,000. Okay, fine. Well, I better get a back rub out of that. After we're done, you'll be rubbing my back. So basically, Veronica's trying to take care of Akil through Marco, just like she's having Laura become her for the hood to take her down instead of actually Veronica. So Veronica is covering her ass on both ends. Then from there, we got Jim and David, and apparently the car. David went over to the loft and the car wasn't there. So now the car is at the police station. So I'm assuming the cops may have picked it up. I don't know. Because with David saying the car's at the police station, well, here's the thing. If that's a good thing. Wait, what? Well, if the car is there, then Wyatt is safe. As safe as he can be in jail. So they're just assuming that, because the vehicle's there, that Wyatt's back in jail. I don't know. All right. So from there, because honestly, I remember in the preview this line was said, so I was thinking, oh, what if they called the police and then the police that answers the phone says Wyatt's in jail, but he's not because that police officer is working with the Malones. But that isn't the case. So Veronica calls a person who is not named to get information on Samuel and Laura because she suspects they're up to something, which I mentioned earlier in the episode. And then we go over to David going to the police station to talk with Carmen Davis. And she can't tell David anything about Catherine or Wyatt. And she resents him because they have not spoken for years. And he said that, I did it to protect you from Veronica. And Carmen apparently doesn't care because after that, she gives him no information and says, hey, you know what? Don't come around here again. If you do, I'm not going to be so nice to you next time. And then Kendrick, I believe, is the police officer at the front station, the one that was trying to help Catherine, the one that went to law school with Amanda. He kind of looked up during a couple of scenes, basically when Carmen was roasting David's ass. So at the end where David is being stared at, what the hell are you looking at? And then he leaves. So it's like, okay, did Carmen, I'm guessing, okay, we know Jennifer Salison had a thing for David. Now, it was never confirmed if Jennifer and David were together or had an affair or David cheated on Veronica with Jennifer. But we just know that David, something about these damn Harringtons, man, or these Harrington men specifically. David was apparently a catch back in, obviously he still is considering the women that just throw themselves at him. But apparently David is had a bunch of people back in the day who probably wanted him. But Veronica being as territorial as she is, David just stayed away from them as to protect them. And given what we've seen with the likes of Erica and Maggie, a lot of women are most likely still alive because David said no. So we go over to Veronica and Samuel. The pool's all fixed up, the camera. And the most interesting part here is that the front door camera, it was either sliced or cut. So that means either Veronica did it herself or somebody else did it on purpose. So we honestly do not know. She tries to pay Samuel for a $1,200 bottle of wine. But then, Sam's like, no, Laura will start to get suspicious. She'll start asking questions. And I like to keep questions to a minimum. Which, again, I feel like is a little nod to the whole not wanting to talk to the police. So he leaves. And, Veronica's just looking him up and down the entire time. She's literally like, you know what I'm talking about. Guess I had to drink my own wine. Moments like that make me feel sad for her. Like, those little moments where I kind of feel, those are moments where I feel the humanity of Veronica. And I like that as opposed to her saying, yo mama jokes. Because this scene felt real. So after that, we go to Justin, who, like Veronica, was having flashbacks with Jeffrey. But thankfully, these flashbacks didn't last long because honestly, I didn't need a flashback montage to remind me of how much I hated Justin's. But again, I'm glad we're doing these flashbacks, but we can kind of spread them out. We don't need them in every episode because when we see flashbacks like this back to back to back, again, it just shows me that Tyler Perry is just trying to eat time away. But remember how I said the Veronica flashbacks reminded me of how much I love the show, how much it used to be good? The Justin flashbacks remind me of how the show started to go downhill when characters like him were introduced. Just saying. So he literally rips down the Jeffrey mural. So I guess you could say that he's most likely over Jeffrey, which hopefully is true. And we can get his ass off the show. So Colby arrives. And as I predicted on Twitter, Justin or Sam was the one that called. They talk for a little bit because Justin is new to this. And, when Colby's like, I can be anything you want me to be. And it's $250. Justin isn't having it. So how often do you do this? How often do you do this? Here's the thing. I was thinking that, wow, Justin must be stalking Jeffrey again and knows Colby was at Madison's and that's why he called him over to get information on Jeffrey. No, Justin literally called this guy to get some loving, but nope, Tanner shows up. All right, so I'll just skip to the ending of this scene, then I'll jump back. So Tanner, Colby, and Justin are in an awkward situation. Colby's trying to leave. Tanner's not having it. And it's like, oh, I'm a cop. I work for the bomb squad. I don't think that's true. I could be wrong. Wait. I could be wrong. I don't. He could be making it up. I don't even care. So basically, apparently Tanner had, what was it, cloned Justin's phone to follow the text chain. That's when he knew when to bust in. And Tanner threatens Colby because apparently, he just doesn't like gay people. Like, okay, that's one thing to not like them, but to actually just assault them is. I thought we were going to have a mirror image of what Lorenzo did to Maurice in Sisters. So Colby kicks his ass. That was amazing. Ex-Marines, like, don't let the gayness fool you. And I like what Colby's like, look, I'm glad that it was me rather than just some other innocent kid that you wanted to beat up on. So it was like, so am I going to get my money or are we going to have to kick another ass? So Justin takes his wallet out, gives him the money. He gets the hell out of there. Best scene of the episode. I still don't like Colby as a character per se, but damn it, this scene was good in my book. So, jumping back to the episode in another part, Veronica, there's a judge who comes over, didn't get his name unless I looked at the end credits, which I didn't do, so I don't really care. Just yet, this dude kind of reminded me of, what's his name, Michael Rappaport? He kind of looked like him a little. Apparently, he's a judge that was called over by Veronica. Apparently they fooled around back in the day, but, Veronica was just so disgusted after he left. Like, ooh, I got to shower. So basically, this is the judge that would help Celine get the child support from Jim, $50,000 in 24 hours. And apparently this judge hates Jim, so he's going to try to bleed him dry. So basically, if he doesn't pay the $50,000, there's going to be a warrant out for his arrest. And there's something that just made me completely upset. Veronica has the proof that Jim has not paid child support in years. Bullshit. Jim has been paying Celine. I forgot the amount, but I've done at least 2 to 3 videos on this channel with the exact episode titles, the exact amounts. Celine should have millions. Celine got cut off in the timeline of the haves and the have-nots maybe a month or so ago. Well, you know what? I don't even know why I'm upset. They literally age boosted Jimmy from like a toddler to like a young adult, maybe in his early 20s. So if they just want to say Jim hasn't paid child support in years, fuck it. He didn't pay child support in years. I'm done. I don't care. So in any case, he has like about a day to get the $50,000 or he's going to get arrested, whatever. Okay. So, Veronica calls Celine, leaves a voicemail saying, oh, we're going to see Jim in person about the child support. And then, she goes take a shower. And, we're almost done. So, okay, this is the last scene. So the police chief that was kind of taunting Catherine in jail about the Malones, he gives Vinny a call saying no ransom money. Catherine isn't budging. So then, like I predicted, Vinny calls Mama Rose, says that, hey, the Criers didn't pay the money. Okay, I'll make it look like an accident. So he goes downstairs. The guys grab Wyatt. Wyatt's going to die. Okay. I felt nothing during this scene because this just let me know once again Wyatt is going to live. Here's how I know. Vinny literally said, we're going to slit his wrist. Once he passed out from bleeding, we're going to put him in the car, and then that's it. He'll die there to make it look like an accident. That's a good plan, but at the end of the day, in terms of it being suspenseful, I don't care. If Wyatt actually dies, I don't care. Because the way Vinny explained the plan, it does look like an accident, but at the same time, and I mean, not to mention, that's how he got out of the jail because he slit his wrist. So, oh, he did it again, he's dead. Here's the thing. The fact that I don't think he's going to die just because they explained the plan, there's a possibility somebody's going to find him and then he's going to survive. This scene did nothing for me because like I said in my video last week about, oh, is Wyatt really dead this time? Will Vinny really kill him? I don't know. And then when Vinny's like, oh, you cut me. How much blood did I lose? You left me for dead. Well, Vinny, you were literally trying to kill Wyatt and it was self-defense. I mean, obviously in his eyes, he's not going to see it that way, but yeah, that's it. So This episode, okay, let me just talk about the positive. I did like the Al and Hannah scene. Colby whipping Tanner's ass. Yet another scene where, damn, David probably had some women he was screwing around with back in the day. Veronica covering her ass with Marco. Yeah, I just go with this episode like a 4 out of 10. Yeah, I think a 7 was too high. It wasn't a terrible episode, but this is the penultimate episode. The episode that, to me, in the past, usually the penultimate episode is better than the actual finale. But I have no expectations for next week. Like, I don't. Like, I know a lot of people want me to do, and I'll still do the who do I think is going to die in the season finale or whatever, but Wyatt wasn't even in the trailer. I mean, maybe the cliffhanger will be somebody finding his dead body, but then again, how many times have we seen that? Like, hell, at the end of last season, he got shot by the cops, and we thought he was, well, no, we didn't think. I mean, we asked the question if he was dead, but I don't think a lot of people thought he was because he was obviously shot in the shoulder. So to actually potentially have Wyatt in a car bleeding out, I don't give a crap because we just saw that. Okay, I'm done. That's it. If you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal, Cash App, or join Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Let me know your thoughts in this episode. I know this a lot of fans every week. A lot of people saying, Tyler Perry, he's just leaning on too heavy with the, homosexual content. I have to agree. And again, this isn't from a homophobic place. I'm not Veronica, but I feel like when it comes to homosexual characters, they're written to be caricatures of how gay people really are. Like, I actually have friends of mine from back in school days, they came out over years and they don't act like the way these characters act on the Tyler Perry show. I feel like I've been reading comments on various videos I post, and people are like, the problem is more often than not when Tyler Perry has non-gay actors playing gay characters, they oversell it and it's a joke and a disgrace. And I mean, to be honest, I don't really know what prompted this to be a big part of the story, because it's doing nothing for me. I mean, is this supposed to raise awareness about equality? Because I'm not seeing it. I mean, the only thing for me that I like was, again, Colby kicking Tanner's ass because of the discrimination factor. I like that, but I saw no positivity from Colby being in. Oh wow, siren. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a video on this, but I feel like it'll be super controversial, so I don't know if I will. But I don't think I saw anything positive about Colby being in that pool because it was indecent exposure. It was trespassing, and you threatened to even piss in the pool. So, I mean, that's like contamination. So, I mean, I don't see how that did anything positive or positively represented any kind of movement. Not just the LGBTQ community, but, like the Black Lives Matter or anything like that. Or, any kind of movement that involved people breaking the law, rioting or destroying things, or, just literally making a statement at the cost of someone else's property or well-being. So I don't see the point of that character arc because, like I said, even though I liked him kicking Tanner's ass, that doesn't make me like the character. That's all I gotta say. And I don't know. Yeah, I know some people on the live stream said that, they're done after this season, and I honestly couldn't blame you. So let's just wait to see what that surprise announcement is. I have no expectation on it. I probably will do a speculation video in the next couple of days, but for right now, I honestly don't care. So as always, I do appreciate the support on the channel, and I'll talk to you next time.